Have you ever been the one responsible for the holiday turkey, and after you poured your heart and soul into that bird, it came out dry and tough and no one ate it? Today I'm going to show you my foolproof method of roasting the most tender, juicy, delicious turkey that you and your guests have ever eaten. Not only that, this method is going to free up your ovens so you can get on with all your other yummy holiday dishes, rolls, desserts, all those other things. This method is going to be done in a countertop electric roaster, self-basting, no basting required, and I promise you this will be the best turkey you've ever eaten. So come along with me this morning. I'm Leslie here at the 14 Acres. Today I'm going to be roasting a turkey that is near and dear to our heart because we raise these turkeys here on the farm from little poults. The bird I'm going to be doing today is over 30 pounds, which is really what led me to discover this way. The first time we processed our own turkeys here at the farm, I did not have a roasting pan large enough for one of these huge birds. That is what led me to do some research and find some other methods of cooking these massive birds to perfection. This is the roaster I'm going to be using today. This is a 22 quart Oster. It has the metal insert, has a little roasting rack inside which just helps you lift the bird out at the end. I have a stick of softened butter that I've added some seasoned salt, some garlic powder, salt and pepper, and a few herbs to. And then this is actually a jar of turkey bone broth that I made from last year's turkey. So I'm going to be adding this to the bottom of the roasting pan as well. So my roaster is preheating. I'm going to go ahead and prep the bird. This turkey has been in the refrigerator for about a week since we processed it, and a good time to rest is really important if you're butchering fresh meat, especially poultry. The meat really seizes up and is super tough. We made the mistake one time of processing chickens, jumbo Cornish cross, and I was so eager and excited to cook the first one that we processed them and immediately cooked it, and it was as tough as boot leather. I was so upset and so worried that we had gone to all this work and then we were going to have a freezer full of tough meat. Well, what I discovered was the meat just needs time to rest in the refrigerator and let all those muscles and everything just loosen back up. So the next time we processed our own birds, we did that. We let a couple sit in the fridge for several days, and then when we roasted them, they were the juiciest, most tender, delicious birds ever. So this turkey has been resting, and now I'm just going to give it a good wash inside and out, hand pick any pin feathers that are left from the plucking process. I will get it pat dry and then we will get it in the roaster. I have my herbed butter, seasoned butter all ready, and I have my quart of bone broth ready to go. Right now, the roaster is dry and it is preheating to the highest setting on the roaster, and mine goes to 450. The trick to getting a nice brown skin on the breast of this turkey is going to be to roast it in this roaster for the first 30 minutes on the highest setting. Then we're going to drop the temperature down and let it continue to cook the rest of the way until we get to that perfect temperature. And we'll get into that here in just a minute. I'm gonna add a generous amount of salt and pepper inside the cavity. I'm also gonna add a couple of cloves of garlic. So this is a head of garlic from the garden. I'm just going to cut off one end and place this whole thing in the cavity. And this is about 5 cloves of garlic. Also going to be adding, I used a half of a small yellow onion this morning, and this was from the garden as well. And I'm going to add the other half inside the cavity. Now it's time for the seasoned butter. We needed a little more butter on this end we couldn't get to in the sink. So I've just melted a little. We're going to add what's left here to the cavity of the bird. I'm going to add a little more seasoned salt and then get the lid on. I have the roaster set to 450, which is the highest setting on this roaster. I've added a little bit of our canned homemade bone broth to the bottom of the roaster just to keep the bottom of the pan from burning. The lid is on and we are going to go for 30 minutes at this highest setting. Then we're going to come back and drop the temperature down to 350. Then we're going to place our thermometer and start taking the bird's temperature. Today I'm going to be using a handy dandy, new to me, digital meat thermometer. Normally I just use a manual one, but it is a pain because you have to check it over and over. With this, it's just putting the probe in. You want it to be in deep into the thigh meat, near the leg thigh joint, but not touching bone. It needs to be deep into the meat. And this has different settings for beef, lamb, poultry, and I have it set to the poultry setting, which is 165 degrees Fahrenheit. I placed our digital thermometer and I still have the roaster set on high, which is 450. When 30 minutes have passed, I am going to take off the lid, pour in the rest of the bone broth, and then turn my temperature down to 350. Then there will be no need to open the roaster again until the leg thigh joint has reached 165 degrees Fahrenheit. It's been 30 minutes at 450. It's probably going to steam up. Going to remove this lid, add the additional bone broth to the bottom of the pan. Had this here because I was not sure about this cord being on at such a high temperature. So now I am going to drop the temperature to 350 on the roaster, the lid back on, and just watch the temperature on my digital thermometer. It totally smells like Thanksgiving in here, y'all. So we are already up to 160. And this has only taken a couple of hours, believe it or not. Oh my word, yum. We're getting close, y'all. 64.3. Okay, y'all, it's time. So next what we are gonna do is, let's see, I'm gonna remove this inner pan from the outer, so the liner, and set it on my stovetop to cool. And by removing it from this, it's going to, remove it from that heat source. There will be some carryover cooking. I have left it like this with the lid on for hours, and still, literally, by the time I carved it, it was still steamy, and it was the most tender turkey ever. The turkey has been resting for about an hour, hour and a half, and now this bird is so huge that I don't know that it will even fit on this cutting board. So I may just cut the lower half of the bird separate from the top half. I've separated the leg thigh quarters with the back from the whole upper part with the wings and both sides of the breast. So now my favorite thing to use for carving is an electric knife. Now I'm just gonna cover this with some foil and put it in the oven to keep it warm.